This is a how-to on foot jams. You guys have asked for it. Some of you called it toe jam. I know it's called a foot jam. You're not really putting your whole foot in there, it's just your toe. But it's called a foot jam regardless. I think it's taken from BMX. Full name for it is a foot jam nose pick. The reason is you're doing a nose pick, which again is a trick from BMX, where you just go up and stall on your nose. We don't have a front brake, so you can't do nose picks, so we just call it a foot jam. There's your rundown. Right. Foot jams. Firstly, you need to decide what foot you're going to use for a foot jam. You should be using your front foot. That's just like a normal thing right there. So I stand regular, so I use my left foot, which is my front foot. If it's your left foot, you want to do the foot jam on the left hand side of your head tube, like that. So if you stand goofy, with your toes pointing to the left, you're going to use your right foot, your front foot, and you're going to do it to the right hand side of your head tube, like so. But I'm regular, so I'm going to be showing you with it on that side. It doesn't matter if you're regular or goofy, because you can learn from this advice. Right, so before you even try a foot jam on a ramp, you want to try it on the floor first. If you can't do it on the floor, you've got no hope of doing it on a ramp. What you want to really do is learn it on the floor, then learn it on a flat bank, which I'll show you in a minute, then learn it on a quarter pipe. Them three steps in order, and you'll be a pro in no time. Right, so the main thing that most people don't do is turn their bars off. You need to turn your bars about 45 degrees. So not 20 degrees, not 90 degrees, 45 degrees. That's about the right amount. And then you just want to shove your foot right in there. Practice as well. Practice just chuck. Oh, not like that. Don't do that. You want to practice chucking your foot, throwing your foot into that. So you just want to turn it 45 and throw your toe or your foot into that. And you want to make it do a front brake. Basically, you want it to operate as a front brake. So when you lean forward, it's stopped. It's not sliding forward, because if you do 20 degrees, it's going to slide forward like this. If I lean forward, it's not going to do it. If you do it at 90 degrees, it's going to just go like this. So 45 degrees, that's your sweet point right there. It takes a bit of practice to get to 45 degrees as well. It took me ages to learn to foot jam. But I assure you, if you just keep practicing, take this advice, watch this video over and over if you need to. If you don't just learn it in one day, it might take a week, it might take a month. Everyone's different, you know, but just keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you'll get. So, 45 degrees, throw that foot into there. It needs to work like a front brake. Now, I've got a cheating way for you guys to learn it, okay? So, don't tell anyone, right? But this is the way that you should learn it. But then you got to learn it the proper way afterwards, right? You promise. This is the way you got to do it. Put your foot next to the head tube like this. If you have your foot there, it doesn't look very good when you ride like that, because you want to ride like this. But if you put it like this to learn foot jams, you've only got to throw it that much forward. It's right there next to it. So it's a really good way of learning. So look, if I'm going to roll forward and go into a foot jam, if I stand in this position, I'm into a foot jam like that. So I want you guys to try that first. Like that, turn 45, and in you go. Probably a terrible example, but I hope you guys get what I mean. Put your foot next to the head tube, turn your forks 45 degrees, and chuck that foot in there. Really jam that foot. It's called a foot jam after all. Jam that foot in there. Don't just touch it, don't just delicately dab your toe in there. You want to chuck it in there. It might hurt a little bit the first day you're learning it, okay? Maybe wear like 2 pairs of socks or something like that, but the pain does go away when you finally man up, pretty much. So man up and do it. Right, so you want to get it on the floor first. So foot next to the head tube, roll along 45 degrees, and there you go. I jumped out of it as well. You don't have to get to that point straight away. You can get into it and then just come back down like that. So you can even just stand on the spot, get in it, and back down. Just practice that. Practice going onto that front wheel. Now another tip, okay? Again, don't release these tips, okay? These are for you guys watching this, okay? I roll my hands back on my grips, okay? So you see, this is how you'd normally hold your grips, like this, yeah? Now I roll them back like this, and then hold them tight. Now you're probably thinking, why on earth would you do that, okay? But there is a reason for it, is it helps you push the handlebars forward. You don't have to lean forward as much because your arms are doing the work for you. Okay, so you want to roll them hands back and push them forward like that. Then you've got the scooter at that angle and you can keep your body weight over the scooter evenly then. So, remember the 2 tips? Foot next to the head tube, hands rolled back on the grips, and you just got to turn it 45 degrees and shove it in there. Like so. And you're a pro. Learn foot jams on the floor before you take it a ramp. But let's take it a ramp. Let's go to bank. Something like this bank is ideal. It's like yay high, like not very high at all. I'm not even going to be doing it on the top of the bank, whereas you'd be doing it on the top of the quarter pipe. I'm just doing this halfway up the bank. So it's just an easy way to learn it. It's a good step from going from the floor to the bank. So main thing, again, 90 degrees with that fork. Roll them hands round, keep your foot there. So you just want to try it, give it a go really. If you don't try it, you're never going to learn it. So like so. You need to jump a little bit. So, you got to jump a little bit into the foot jam now. On the floor you don't have to jump into it, but I would say practice jumping into your foot jam on the floor, because if you fall over on the floor, you're not exactly going to hurt yourself. It's probably a lie, I've hurt myself on the floor loads of times, but you're less likely to hurt yourself. So you want to jump into the foot jam on the bank. So roll up the bank, jump not too high, jump, turn that fork. Deck should be at that angle. I've got 45 degrees there. I've got my hands rolled back on the grips, which brings that back end up. And then I jam that foot in there as hard as I can and keep it in for as long as you can as well. Don't jam in there and then take it out. You want to jam it in there and then jump with it jammed in, and then switch your foot back over to the deck. That's how you do it. So get it dialed on bank before you even think about doing it on quarter pipe, because if you can't do it on bank, you certainly can't do it on quarter pipe. Okay, my general rule is do it 3 times in a row and you're pro. That's the way to do it. So 3 times in a row on the bank, take it a quarter. Okay, so I've done it 2 times in a row, so I have to do another one and then I can take it a quarter. That's it. I'm a pro. Just so you guys know as well, foot jams took me ages to learn. Okay, don't feel bad if they take you a while. Okay, let's do it on quarter pipe. Here's a rather suitable quarter pipe. Let's go. Right. Before you guys get to that stage, you're thinking like, you don't just go from bank to quarter like that, okay? There are some more steps, okay? I'm going to give you some tips. So what you want to do first is this, okay? You just want to come out of the ramp and try and land at like 90 degrees and then jump back in. If you can't do that, don't even try foot jams, just get that first. You should be able to maybe tire tap as well. Some people struggle with tire taps, but the idea is you just want to gum up 90 degrees. And then back in. Don't land on the coping like I just did, because that's deadly. But hey, you know, it's a tiny little ramp. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to maybe bump up an elbow or a knee or something. It's part and parcel of scooter riding. If you're riding a scooter, you got to understand it is an action sport and you're going to maybe hurt yourself. So it's all good. Right, so same applies as it did on the bank. Roll the hands back on the grips. Keep your foot there in the cheating position. For the record, once you've learnt it in the cheating position, you then want to learn getting it from your normal stance and leaping into that foot jam. But in the meantime, we're still learning. That's why you're watching this how-to. So, roll back the hands on the grips, foot next to the head tube. Let's give it a go. Now, glad I did that actually, because that brings me to the next point. Hopping in a foot jam. If you're learning, you can hop. I still hop. You just watch me hop there. There's no denying it. I can't edit that out.
Well, you're going to have to edit that out.
Right, so hopping isn't a bad thing. Practice it on the floor as well. Like if you're on a flat surface, just try going. And you'll see you've got the foot jam. That's not the way I learned to foot jam, but it's not a bad way of learning, okay? Also, once you get into the foot jam, sometimes you'll turn too much, like this. That's when we get into the deadly zone, okay? You want to bail out at that point, okay? To stop yourself from getting to that point, don't spin too much into the foot jam. So you just want to spin about this much. You know, I know I said come up 90 degrees, maybe less than 90 actually, I was lying. Less than 90 when we start applying it to foot jams, okay? Come up 45, get into it at 45 degrees and you'll pivot round to about here. Then you want to jump back in. But when you start jumping back in, keep your foot jammed in there and jump in with your foot still on the wheel. I know it sounds silly, but if you take it out too early, you'll die. Alright, you won't die, but you'll fall over. You might even go over the handlebars, okay? It's a foot jam, it's an intermediate trick, alright? So it's not for beginners, it's you work up to it, alright? It's not as bad as it looks, okay? But keep it jammed in for as long as you can, then drop in. So there you go, that's foot jams. If you guys can learn from this, just let me know. Let me know if this helps you out, this video. You know, I appreciate it. I put a lot of time into making these videos. So I hope I've helped you guys out, and I'm going to show you a couple of foot jam tricks now as well that you can learn after you've learned foot jams. So some foot jam combos. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. There's going to be plenty more how-to videos coming out and other videos in general. But yeah, enjoy. #YOLO Warrior.